Okay, let's jump right in. Today we're unpacking a really interesting concept from Alina Chamberlain's Guide for Women. It's called the Digital Seduction Method, and it's basically a playbook for completely changing how you create intimacy through your phone. So the entire method is really built on this one powerful, kind of provocative idea. The point isn't just to talk, it's to use your phone to create this constant, welcome presence in his mind. So the big question is, how does the method claim you can actually do that? We're going to break this down into 5 key parts. We'll start with the basic mindset shift, then we'll get into specific language techniques, storytelling using visuals, and finally we'll talk about the real goal that ties this whole strategy together. All right, so the very first step, and honestly the most important one, is to move past these simple check-ins. You know, the classic, "How was your day?" text. This method suggests swapping that out for what it calls evocation, which is really just a fancy way of saying you use your words to make him feel things, to create actual sensory experiences for him. And this really gets to the heart of the problem this method is trying to solve. The source basically says that most texting has gotten super predictable, maybe even a little boring. So this whole system is designed to be the antidote to that, a way to make every notification from you feel like a real event, not just another message. So what are the actual tools here? Well, this first set of techniques is all about the words you choose and how you can use them to build this unique, private little world that exists just between the two of you. You can really see the difference here. On one side, you've got the standard everyday check-in, but on the other, you have a conscious choice to use language that actually sparks his imagination. It's the difference between asking, "What did you eat for lunch?" and describing a flavor so vividly he can almost taste it himself. This brings us to a really core concept from the source, the sensory lexicon. And the idea is powerful, but it's also pretty simple. Our brains don't always know the difference between a sensation that's described in vivid detail and one that's actually happening. So by using a hand-picked vocabulary, you can supposedly trigger a real physical response just through your texts. The source gives some pretty specific examples. Delicious words are these adjectives we usually say for amazing food, but here they're applied to moments or feelings. So instead of saying, "I had a good time," you might say, "That moment was absolutely succulent." Then you pair those with sexual power words to connect those everyday pleasures with a much more intense feeling. Okay, so the next layer of language is what the source calls a private dialect. And listen, this is way more than just cute pet names. It's about creating a whole secret code. Special terms for places you've been, inside jokes, even intimate moments that only you two understand. And the whole point of this is to build what the source calls a psychological closed loop. See, every time you use your private language, you're reinforcing this exclusive world that you share. It's a constant, low-key signal that you both have a piece of each other that's totally off limits to everybody else. So once you've got that special language down, the method moves into storytelling. This next part is all about using that unique vocabulary to spin narratives and build this ongoing sense of intrigue. The main technique for this is called the open loop. Honestly, it's just like a cliffhanger at the end of your favorite TV show. You introduce a really exciting idea, or a fantasy, or a memory, but you don't finish the story right away. This opens a little loop in his mind that he feels like he has to close, which keeps him totally hooked and thinking about you. Now, the source lays out a pretty simple 3-part framework for creating these so-called mental movies. You can share some kind of what-if fantasy. You can describe a real memory using that sensory language we talked about, or you can just ask a provocative question that forces him to picture an intimate scene. Each one is designed to get that film rolling in his head. And now we get to what the source calls the most powerful tool in the whole playbook. After you've built this entire world with words and stories, the method says you need to anchor it all with a really high-impact visual. But here's the key, and it's so simple. Less is more. The method argues that the power of a visual, like a photo or a quick video, is directly tied to how rarely you send one. That scarcity is what makes it feel like a huge deal, not just another picture in an endless feed. According to the source, these visuals really have 2 jobs to do. First, they need to provide a positive shock, like an unexpected jolt of pleasure and attraction. And second, they need to act as mental bookmarks. That image has to be powerful enough that his mind just automatically goes back to it all day long, long after he's put his phone away. So, we've gone over the vocabulary, the storytelling, the visuals, but what's the philosophy that ties all of this together? What's the actual end game here? And there it is. Every single technique we've talked about is engineered to do one thing: to completely sidestep the logical, day-to-day part of his brain and talk straight to his imagination, which is where desire really lives. So at the end of the day, the goal isn't just about sending better texts. According to the source, the whole point of the method is to construct an entire private, shared world of intimacy and desire that actually exists and grows through your phones. It makes that connection feel real and powerful, even when you're not together. And this leaves us with a pretty important question to chew on. As we use our screens more and more to build relationships, where exactly do we draw the line between fostering a real connection and just curating a perfect performance? It's definitely something to think about.
You can find the electronic version of book She Who Awakens by Alina Chamberlain at wishforlove.org.